Okay, so tonight we are playing Experimental Frenzy and Burn. This isn't really like something I've ever really seen anybody do in Pioneer. I'm not saying nobody's done it. I am saying that I haven't seen anybody do it though. So basically, what I did is I took Pioneer Burn. I added a land. I just added a basic mountain. Um, oh, excuse me. I cut Wizard's Lightning for Experimental Frenzies, and I added Cemetery Gatekeeper in exchange for Viashino Pyromancer. Now, I believe that this gives us a couple of neat sideboard options with having the deck set up this way. Obviously, we can't play Luris playing Experimental Frenzy, but I do think this gives us a lot of late game grind. I don't know. Like, I'm just curious to try this and see what this is like. I'm hoping that this may be the answer to my questions here. So, our sideboard is 4 Chain of the Rocks and 4 Searing Blood. Those are all pretty standard in Burn and Pioneer. We're playing for Scab-Clan Berserker. That is not standard in Burn and Pioneer just because of the mana cost. It's not played a lot, but I think it'll really help us out against some of the Ascendancy deck and the Hidden Strings and Phoenix and stuff like that. I think it'll be pretty solid there. And now that we're not playing Luris, we're also in a spot where we can play Rest in Peace. If you've watched any of my recent videos or seen me streaming recently, you've heard me talk about how much I really like Rest in Peace in this format. I think Rest in Peace has a lot of value in this format. So this is the first draft of what this looks like. So I'm kind of excited to jump in here. I'm glad to see that the the numbers of active players in the Pioneer League queue is actively growing. Like it sat around 250, 270 for a long time, and then I saw it sitting around 330, and now it's up to 400. It's over 400 now, I think. So that's pretty exciting to me. It means the format's starting to pick up a little bit of more popularity online anyway. So it's also worth noting that I thought about cutting Ghitu Lavarunner and playing something else. I honestly just didn't know what to play. Ghitu seemed to be probably one of the best one drops that I could play. I thought about playing Fanatical Firebrand to help turn on Spectacle for a lot of the stage, but I was also worried about just being swept away by Chain Whirler. So I like having creatures that don't just completely get swept away by Chain Whirler. And good luck, opponent. I think we're gonna have to mulligan this. I like this hand. We will keep this and put this on the bottom. Now our opponent probably just thinks we're on mono red aggro leading on Mountain Swiftspear. And we didn't show a companion, so that's another good reason for them to think that. I'm gonna attack here because I would rather them Fatal Push my Swiftspear than I would them Fatal Push my Eidolon. They made okay, so they had they have to have a Fatal Push here. It's if not, they just cast Consider there, and they would have cast Consider before we resolved our Eidolon. So I'm going to go ahead and cast Eidolon. Okay. I put that in the graveyard. I cast Eidolon there before attacking because I didn't want to walk into a Censor effect. Fatal Push on the Eidolon again. Yep, alright, seems pretty good. I think we're going to have to put that on the bottom. I don't really want a 4th land. Without knowing that I have Experimental Frenzy, I think getting rid of a land here is okay. If I had Experimental Frenzy, if my last card was Experimental Frenzy, I'd scry that to the top almost every time. Well, this does just present lethal, so... Okay. Main deck Test of Talents is pretty interesting. Definitely not saying it's wrong. It's pretty interesting counterspell to play in the main. All right, let's see here. Scry. I think we can leave that one on top. We'll put our opponent to 3, and then Ghitu does let us present lethal here. Now it doesn't. That's looking kind of bad. Going to combat this quickly is nice because it just lets our opponent think that we have Heartless Act. I'm just gonna say go here. Hold up Lavarunner. Them having Blast Zone in their deck like really makes that kind of bad. I'm very surprised that they're playing Blast Zone, if I'm gonna be entirely honest with you. Most of the time these control decks can only can't really afford to play lands like that. They're just like their spells are so mana efficient normally. So the problem lies now in the fact that we have a creature in our hand with our opponent at 3 and they have an active Blast Zone in play, so we're going to try and get in for 2 here. Alright, they're just going to pop the Blast Zone, that's fine. Going to cast Consider here. Cycle a Censor, alright. I mean, they know we don't have a burn spell in our hand, at least not a lethal burn spell, because we would have just run it out right there when they went to cycle. Narset, okay. Our opponent finds Heartless Act. Alright, so a good removal spell. Well, continuing to draw lands here is not what we want. Love to see an Experimental Frenzy. Alright, they have Consider Heartless Act in their hand. 3 unknown cards. Alright, we've drawn 3 lands in a row now. Well, that's pretty much going to make it impossible to win the game from here. Yeah, I'm going to concede. Unfortunately, we just bricked too many times in a row there. Like 3 turns in a row when you're playing an aggro deck and you have your opponent at 3, and 3 turns in a row you draw a land, you lose. Like, that is just what happens every time. And this is kind of like what I've been talking about. Like, 7 lands in 18 cards. I mean, that's not terrible. It's quite a few, but it's not terrible. Like, this is kind of what I've been talking about, that you can build these decks as well and as clever as they may be, but sometimes it just doesn't matter. Like, when you draw like that, there's nothing you could do. Like, we had our opponent dead to rights. Multiple turns they tapped out, so thinking that cutting Play with Fire here is the best option. We really just want the Scab-Clan Berserker here. We still want Frenzy to help us grind. I don't really think Rest in Peace is necessary. Yeah, like, Rest in Peace doesn't feel necessary. Like, the only thing we're really shutting off is Dig Through Time, and like I don't think that's worth that many cards. Alright, well, we'll be on the play again, even though it did us no good the first game. Alright, play Swiftspear, get in. Having turn 1 creature into turn 2 Eidolon against a control deck always feels really good. Attack for 1 here. Our opponent both times has been okay with giving up us just playing light up the stage post-combat here because they have Fatal Push, which is pretty smart. Like, if I kept a 1-lander, like, they're just deciding that, okay, if you kept a 1-lander, I'm okay with, that they're okay with giving up light up the stage here. Alright, light up the stage. You know, Test of Talents this. Our opponent is on an interesting deck, and against us, it's very good. Hey, what's going on, Edoxy? I mean, maybe Test of Talents is like this, like, new sweet tech that, like, nobody's really playing. Well, they just got rid of 4 copies. Do they get to look? Graveyard hand and library. So they get to look at my hand too. God, that's insane. So I think the play is, yeah, we're going to discard our Swiftspear here. We could get in for quite a bit, but I'd rather keep my Experimental Frenzy here. We get to put our opponent to 12, and if we hit an untapped land, we get to Slam Frenzy, so it's kind of a... It feels pretty good. I don't think this other Swiftspear was worth it. Now, Kalidas is a problem. This is worth getting this off the field. Target creature gains double strike. And they get a token out of the bit, but we get to get Kalidas off the field. Kalidas is like one of the hardest cards to beat. Wow, alright. Our opponent's drawn very well so far. Turn 1 removal, turn 2 pull all my light up the stages, into turn 3 gain some life, into turn 4 Kalidas, turn 5 Kalidas. Alright, well, Experimental Frenzy's gonna have to bail me out here. Alright, well, Lavarunner's not gonna do it. If I have, like, some busted turns, I leave that on top pretty quick. If we have some, like, busted turns with Lavarunner here, then there's a chance. Alright, Frenzy. Well, Eidolon's not looking very good here. Yeah, I'm just going to concede. This game's over. Alright, well that was a blue-black control deck that was set to beat the living crap out of us. I mean, maybe... Like, maybe I'm just supposed to play... light up the stage on turn 2, knowing that they've left open Fatal Push and not run out my Eidolon, and then play it later. I don't know. Well, I like this hand. Okay, I mean, like, what do you take here? They actually take a lot at the stage. It's interesting. All right, we're gonna. How much variety are you experiencing in Pioneer? What do you mean exactly, Kyle? Like, do you mean like what am I playing against? Like, is that what you're asking? Nope. Stop the phone. Grixis. Okay. Well, we've drawn our 4th lot at the stage. Hopefully this opponent's not playing Test of Talents too. Alright. Play Soul-Scar Mage. The other option was cast Light up the stage and hope to hit an untapped land. Alright, our opponent conceded. That was weird, but okay. All we saw was Thoughtseize, so I'm thinking that Scab-Clan Berserker is probably going to be pretty good here. On the draw, we can probably cut some number of Eidolons. I mean, Eidolon's pretty taxing against a lot of these decks, so... maybe we're just cutting Play with Fires. Hope that's not a mistake. I'm playing in my LGS, a sort of Orzhov control deck with tons of removal. What do you think can be good against aggro burn decks like your usual ones? I'm thinking in Light of Hope. Light of Hope is a really good card against burn. Another really good card against burn is Collective Brutality. Cling to Dust is pretty sweet. I think all of those cards are decent options. Yeah, do you tend to go up against a ton of different types or generally the same? I mean, like, I guess the answer to your question is kind of both. Like, I feel like there's like a specific 5 to 6 decks that vary different cards on any given day that you play against a lot in Pioneer. I know we didn't have a 1-drop in our hand, but I kept this off the back of having Eidolon into Scab-Clan Berserker. Plus, now I'm thinking I'm just going to slam Gatekeeper here. I'm just going to slam Gatekeeper and exile their land. Hope they don't have Fatal Push here. Usual suspects in, I will go with that. Okay, man, sounds good. Well, now I'm going to exile their Fatal Push, because I don't want anything else in there. But I mean, yeah, like typical suspects in Pioneer include like Winota, Is It Phoenix, Rakdos aggro, Mono Red aggro, the Mono Blue Spirits deck is something I see a lot of, and the Ascendancy deck. Like, those are probably the decks I play against the most. But I mean, there's a solid 7 to 8 decks that you can see at any point in time when you're playing Pioneer. Okay, Heartless Act. I'm loving Pioneer right now. Yeah, Pioneer is awesome. Like, I tell everybody, I love Pioneer. Pioneer is my favorite format. So diverse and lots of brews feel competitive. Yeah, I think that's the one thing that really draws me to the format is that when you play against a lot of when you play on Modern a lot, you just don't find many decks that are different or special. Really, it just feels like you're playing the same things all the time. So it's kind of nice to have that variety in Pioneer. Put our opponent to 18, get Renown going, and then we'll say go. Our opponent missed a land drop. Okay, they hit one that turn. If our opponent continues to miss land drops, considering they're doing that, I'm wondering if it's I think I'm going to go ahead and get Frenzy down while it's safe. Would have liked to have been able to play that land, but you never know. You might hit a 1-drop there. Absolutely agree. Pioneer gives you the chance to brew and fill out your deck and compete against the tiers. Yeah, it really does, honestly. It's kind of nice. Nicol Bolas, okay. 7 lands, right? Or 7 mana. Okay. And you can only flip him as a sorcery. Alright, Frenzy. Let's outgrind Bolas. Well... Alright, so we have Frenzy and Eidolon, and then Lavarunner? Deciding to skip out on the Eidolon here, because our opponent's hitting in for 4 every turn, so just playing Eidolon here doesn't seem like a great way to win this race. Does anybody know, is Test of Talents in the main deck of Blue-Black Control? Is that like a super common thing nowadays? Oh my gosh. Okay, apparently we're playing against every deck in the format that plays Kalitas. I mean, I think it's necessary to just go upstairs. We got very lucky. We were very fortunate to go back-to-back removal spells like that. We could have very easily have drawn into like a couple of creatures or a land or anything like that. Alright, I'm not feeling so lucky now. Alright, well, we're going to send him with the clowns. Hopefully he blocks with a Kalitas. I have used Boros Charm more times in this league with an alternate, like, with something other than just Dome You for 4 than I think I have, like, in the last, like, 6 months. Alright, well, that sucks. And we're going to lose that Lavarunner, so this is just all around terrible for us. Alright, maybe we want Chain to the Rocks here. Like, we've seen Bolas and we've seen Kalitas here. I'm going to throw this in front of the Kalitas. I know that, like we just... Like, our Eidolon's doing nothing but hurting us here. Yep. Jace. Alright, our opponent is on a real pile here. Sorry, I'm hitting... That's twice I've done that. Alright, yeah, we're going to scoop them up. So I'm holding control there when I'm casting Light Up a Stage in case I hit instant speed interaction. I can actually cast the instant speed interaction with Light Up a Stage on a stack with the way Experimental Frenzy works, which is something I actually had to talk about when you played this deck in Standard. What's our worst card here? Like, we want Frenzy, like, maybe we go down to, like, 2 Frenzy? I don't know, I like Frenzy a lot. Scab-Clan Berserker is pretty good, but, I mean, they aren't playing a lot, I mean, I say a lot of creatures. Like, they're not playing a lot of creatures, but... Maybe Gatekeeper's not that good here on the draw. Let's try cutting Gatekeeper on the draw. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think Eidolon's better, and I don't think we're cutting one of our 1-drops. We're definitely going to keep this hand. This hand's very good. What's your favorite card in Pioneer? Oh, Lord. I don't know. Probably Chain of the Rocks, honestly. Like Chain of the Rocks is like... I don't know. I just keep trying to jam Chain of the Rocks in decks. Like, I love Chain of the Rocks right now. That card just feels so good against, like, the entire, like, not the entire metagame, obviously, but it feels really good against, like, most of the metagame. Alright, let's get Eidolon down and say go here. I forgot to update the record after last match. Sorry, guys. Okay. So I'm going to play Swiftspear. I'm going to attack. I'm going to cast Light Up the Stage. Hopefully we hit an untapped land and we're able to play Soul-Scar Mage. Always yield. Alright, we hit a 3-drop and a 4-drop. I mean, I don't know. That's just how it goes. Not seeing a third land in 11 cards is pretty surprising. We are playing 20. But I guess the good news is that if we hit an untapped land next turn, we can run out the Scab-Clan Berserker here. Naturally, we don't. Alright, let's attack for 2. Apparently our opponent does not have Fatal Push. We're going to cast Soul-Scar Mage after combat and say go. Man, they didn't have, like, they didn't have Cling to Dust or anything there. It's pretty surprising. Alright, I'm going to discard Lavarunner here, hold the Lightning Strike to be able to shrink the Bolas to a 1-1. I mean, I guess it's a land, like, plus the only play we're making this turn is Lightning Strike anyway, so. Alright, this puts our opponent to 8. We've drawn a pretty decent utility land here, so that feels pretty good. Kind of forgot Nicol Bolas existed, honestly. Like, it was a really popular deck in Standard for a while, and then, like, it just kind of went away after that. I don't really know why or what happened there. Smoldering Egg, okay. They have to cast 7 mana worth of spells? An instant or sorcery spell, alright. Well, I am going to run out the land here, because if we happen to draw into Experimental Frenzy or another untapped land, Experimental Frenzy is really good off the top here. Or if we hit another untapped land, we can just fire up Den of the Bugbear and get busy. Let's run out Eidolon and see what our opponent does here. Okay. I mean, we have our opponent at 4 with an active Eidolon in play. Well, now we have our opponent at 4. Is that Baleful Mastery? Yeah, Baleful Mastery. That was a pretty good card. Go blank there allows them to flip their Ash Dragon into Ash Mouth Dragon, which serves as a pretty decent removal spell here. Alright, so a removal spell... A removal spell here is pretty good for them, because, like, Fatal Push here allows them to... Like, Fatal Push Soul-Scar Mage... I mean, if they're willing to do this, I'm just going to let them go to 2, because we drew Lightning Strike. Man. I'm going to do it during their upkeep, or I'm going to see if they tap out here for something. Make them tap out now. Okay, they just had nothing. I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes people get mad at me for doing stuff like that, but I feel like it's correct because we're forcing our opponent to use their mana on their turn, and I feel like it's very likely that they could have had a counter spell. They are playing blue, so I feel like ruling them out of counter spells is just wrong there. We had a like, Experimental Frenzy was good because it drew us, like, 3 or 4 more cards than we would have seen Game 2, but we just kind of got outclassed by Double Cletus there. Wouldn't the Prowess triggers be worth it? So, my worry about casting it before damage there is that if I cast it and my opponent has a Fatal Push, I only have 1 spell, so they know I don't have another Prowess trigger, and they have Fatal Push. They get the Fatal Push, so they blocked Soul-Scar Mage. They get the Fatal Push 1 Swiftspear, and then they get deal 2 to the other Swiftspear, so we get 0 combat damage in that way. So going for the Prowess triggers is a higher upside play, but it has a bigger downside play too. So the play that you're referring to has a higher ceiling and a lower floor, and I just kind of went for like the safer play there was my thought process. Which is kind of surprising. I don't say out loud that I went for the safer play many times. Honestly, that's not something I say very often. It's also interesting that we played against back-to-back Kalitas matchups. Like maybe the format's moving towards Kalitas more regularly, but I haven't played against. I don't know. I don't think I played against Kalitas in a couple days, honestly. So it's kind of funny that we run into it when I'm not playing Rampaging Ferocidon. So. You playing Saturday? What's going on Saturday, dude? I swear I don't learn about any of these events. What's happening Saturday, man? It's the 22nd. The 1K at Marks. Oh well, one I thought that was on Sunday and. No, I'm probably not gonna go. I got a couple of my cousins in town this weekend, so I'm gonna be hanging out with them. Oh wow, how about that? Person we lost to in the first round has 16 trophies. I don't feel as bad about losing now. We cancel and we start again and we find a match pretty quick. All right. All right. I like this hand. Might be one too many creatures against a Lurrus deck. I really wish my phone would just shut up. Alright, phone. You're about to get muted if you don't shut up. Alright, you were warned. Just got like 7 notifications in like 2 seconds. That's cool. Oh, really like to just see Play with Fire off the top. So I'm going to attack and see if they block here. Probably not going to. Alright, so we're going to get Favorite Hoplite off the field. Most of their things we can deal with because of Prowess and Dreadhorde Arcanist is just a 1/3. But one of the harder things... Eidolon's pretty good. Definitely going to attack and see what my opponent does here. Alright, we just got a free point of damage in, so that's pretty sweet. Got to run out Eidolon. Eidolon's really good against this deck. But beating Favorite Hoplite is a really tough one to beat when you're playing like damage-based removal. Just due to how everything plays. It gets so much bigger, and like anytime they have any spell, it prevents the damage. Okay. Now they're gonna Reckless Rage my Soul-Scar Mage. That seems pretty good. Of course, Eidolon was a Boros Charm there, so... Alright. They have 3 cards in hand. The question is, are we exiling... I don't play Pioneer. Is this a Feather deck? So yeah, the deck that I'm playing against is like Featherless Feather. It's basically just Boros Heroic. It doesn't play Feather. They can't play that and play their companion, so... Am I getting rid of Lightning Strike? Because, I mean, they do play a lot of sorceries. Or am I stopping them from playing creatures here? Like, what's the play? I think we're going to go with creatures here, because even though we have creatures and it costs us to take damage, if we draw an instant or sorcery here, we are able to run out Lavarunners with haste. Alright, even if we would have hit Lightning Strike, it wouldn't have mattered to this point. Good God. I'm going to throw this in front here and take 3, go to 12. Chain of the Rocks will be pretty good post-board here. Chain of the Rocks and Searing Blood will be pretty good. Now, the problem with Searing Blood is that there's like, normally you have to like get that in a certain window. Man, so we're going to take 6 here to do this. Man, this is tough. Which means we're going to go to 5. Yeah, I don't... Let's attack, put our opponent to 7. Alright, we're going to play Lavarunner, go to 10, and then we're going to play our Lavarunner number 2 and go to 8 here. And hopefully we're able to use one of them to block, like not profitably, but use one of them to block in a decent fashion. Oh, they're just going upstairs. They're going to recast it here off their Dreadhorde Arcanist and kill us. That seems pretty good. Alright. Rest in Peace also seems insane here. But is Rest in Peace too much? Like, they run some number of Rest in Peace in their sideboard, so it doesn't feel like Rest in Peace is that good. So we definitely want Chain of the Rocks, and we definitely want Searing Blood. Like, there's an argument for bringing in every single card in our sideboard, but I think that's wrong. So, Rest in Peace, like, they play Rest in Peace in their sideboard, so I'm not convinced that having it is correct. I don't like Scab-Clan Berserker because it has to connect to be able to deal damage to them, and I don't think that's very solid. Right now, Experimental Frenzy and Boros Charm look like the worst cards in our deck. Like, I understand that Experimental Frenzy helps us find removal spells. I'm just worried that we'll be dead by then. I think we're just going to bring in our 8 removal spells here and just run it back. Okay, I like this hand. Wish those were, wish one of those was an Inspiring Vantage, but I can settle for having, like, this is just a really good hand overall. Honestly, I'm just being a greedy tool by wanting more here. Like, honestly, is what's happening. Play with fire, okay. Well, I like getting down Eidolon here. Well, they might have brought in Deafening Clarion here, honestly. Alright, well, the fact that they killed my Eidolon, definitely doing this. We're playing Soul-Scar Mage, then we're going to play Gatekeeper, exile our Lavarunner. Yeah. Like that a lot. That was, the fact that they had double play with fire there actually worked out for us, which is pretty weird. I probably won't be saying that very often. I don't know. We're definitely playing the Inspiring Vantage here, but it's pretty aggressive to attack here. Because if they have 2, like, they shocked in. So if they have 2 1-mana spells here, we're just, like, it's Blowout City if we attack and they have Reckless Rage and, like, Defiant Strike or something like that. I'm just going to say go. I think we're going to have to use our Searing Blood for something else here. And they might have just gotten away with one, but I don't think that's a chance I can take. Alright. Maybe now we can make a play, knowing that they only have access to one. Alright, I'm going to attack with a Gatekeeper here because I can. Like, attacking with the Gatekeeper here is actually pretty solid. Alright, we're going to play the Gatekeeper, put ourselves to 14, and we're going to exile their Play with Fire. So any instant spell they play requires them to shock themselves now. So creature or instant. Feels like our opponent's flooding out pretty hard. Alright, Chain of the Rocks is not bad. This is tough. So I feel like our best bet here is play Chain to the Rocks on 10th District Legionnaire, and then if they go for something in response, we cast Searing Blood on it. Always yield to Prowess. Plus, pumping up for Prowess here is pretty solid because it allows us to get more aggressive. Alright. Oh, I definitely should not have let that resolve. That was so dumb. Okay. Alright, they've only got one card in hand. So they're going to give it pro red. How are they scrying? Puts one card on top. Alright, so they've already scryed to the top, so they're going to continue to scry to the top. And now it's going to get pro white. They're going to scry to the top again. And there's no reason for us to attack. The only way we can, like, the only reason that attacking is good here is that it allows us to get in 2 points of damage, but then we lose. I mean, they either take 3 and go to 3. Like, alright. The fact that you continue to play into my Gatekeeper feels pretty solid here. Man. I'm just going to go upstairs with that. They only have instants in their graveyard. If they play a creature, we have... Like, if they play a creature or an instant here, then we just have Play with Fire to kill them. Alright, let's let this resolve. You most certainly do not get to gain 4 life, and if you're going to, you have to do it now. You have to, like, cast another one or something. It's good to know that they're playing Light of Hope. Like, that makes sense, but at the same time, like, you never know. So the question here is do we want Eidolons on the play? Or on the draw, I mean. I mean, truthfully, we just want to keep all their stuff off the field, but it's not always a realistic option. Sometimes we have to win games like we did last time. Now, they broke serve on the first one, so we have to win on the draw here. Yeah, I think we just have to leave it the way it is, because Boros Charm doesn't interact. Rest in Peace isn't good enough. Scab-Clan Berserker is way too slow on the draw, and I think and if Scab-Clan Berserker is too slow on the draw, then Experimental Frenzy is way too slow on the draw. This deck is just so explosive. Alright. Hopefully our opponent like mulligans to 5 or something here. I mean, I like this hand. Like, we have multiple removal spells here. And we have a creature that helps us shrink their board, so... I'm just going to play Den of the Bugbear and say go. If they try to play a 2-drop here, or they play a 1-mana spell... So, my reasoning for not playing Soul-Scar Mage that turn is that if we play with fire or something and they save it, Lightning Strike definitely kills it going into that turn. So, unfortunately, we have to play all of our stuff at sorcery speed here just because their deck is just pumped full of, like, it's just has so many pump spells and so many answers in it. Alright. Soul-Scar Mage. We're going to go for Play with Fire here. Again, in an attempt to keep all of their stuff off the board. We've also drawn a 5th land. Like, if we just stop drawing lands here, that would be cool. Alright, well, this thing being a -1/1 here, I'm okay with just saying go. Because they have to play multiple spells here to even be able to Snapcast or anything back. Okay. Alright, so they have to have God's Willing here to keep it from getting the counters. If they have Defiant Strike, not much I can do about that. Like, Defiant Strike keeps it from dying. Okay, I'm actually pretty okay with this exchange. They get to scry 1, they put 1 on the bottom, they put 1 on the bottom, and then there's no reason for them to attack. That's a really good draw step. We're going to play Searing Blood, get this out of the field, and then we're going to exile Legionnaire. I'd rather have to deal with Arcanist from their Lyris. Alright, they're buying Lyris. Playing a land and saying go. I think it's better just to get in the red zone here with Den of the Bugbear. Hopefully they don't have a Play with Fire. We haven't seen one yet, but we just need to apply as much pressure as possible here. Plus, if we happen to draw into a removal spell this turn, Swiftspear into removal spell will just be better. Our opponent goes to 9 off Lyris. They have to go to 7 if they play Dreadhorde Arcanist. Actually, don't play anything. Interesting. Alright, well, drawing another land is not great here. I'm actually just going to say go here. They might not have had anything, but at the same time, I don't think that's a chance we can take, because if we attack with everybody and they have like, they have like a God's Willing or something like that, like it's kill our stuff and gain a bunch of life. Okay. Yep. Play Dreadhorde Arcanist. That leaves him with 1 card. Alright, Den of the Bugbear number 2 is not what we were looking for here. Like, that's fine, but again, that's just not what we wanted. We've seen a lot of lands. That's our 7th land. Half of our draws have been lands. Our hand started out so good too. Yeah, they're just gonna get to start casting stuff, so I'm just gonna fire a Bugbear here and see what happens. Hopefully they don't have Like, everything they have gets to block the token, which is fine. Gonna play Swiftspear and say go. Would have really liked to have seen like a Chain of the Rocks right there. Chain of the Rocks would have been awesome. Because if we could have played Chain of the Rocks and then fired up Bugbear, that would have been really good. I definitely would have attacked with the Lyris there. Gonna take 3. I mean, Lavarunner's a good card here, but like, what are we really accomplishing? So if we play a Lavarunner, fire up Den of the Bugbear, and get in with everybody, we attack for 3, 5, 6, 7. He goes token, token, takes 5, gains 3, so he really just takes 2 and goes to 5. Alright. Well, we're just going to say, we're going to play this Sego and hold up Bugbear activation. Using Bugbear on defense is not exactly what we wanted to see. Ancestral Rage is pretty good. That's pretty good. My opponent's going to get to gain a bunch of life here. But now we can get... if they have another removal spell, there's nothing we can do about that, but... Yep. Okay. Not gonna lie, I kind of figured you were just going for the gain like a bunch more gain like what is that? Gain 2 more life. Gain, yeah. Oh. Yeah, click on the mana, please. No removal spell here. 6, 7, 8. Alright, well, we're going to take another draw step here for humor's sake. But this one's over. Our opponent put Lyris into their hand, and we stopped drawing spells. Alright. Well, that did not go... I mean, like, that game was going really well, and then all of a sudden it just fell off. Like, we just stopped drawing well. Like, at one point, half of our draws have been lands. So, when we ran out of removal spells, we just kind of lost that matchup. How's the Magic going tonight? It's going okay. It's not too bad. I mean, you know, that game didn't go so well, but you can't win them all, right? What's going on with you, Ben? How's your day going, buddy? Like, when I play against that deck, my thought process is, like, that deck a lot of times honestly folds to itself. Like that's honestly how that deck feels. Because when they have multiple... Like, I played that deck when Pioneer first came out. I played it all the time. I top 16, like, 2 Pioneer challenges with that deck. Like, I was never able to top 8 with it, sadly. I always got, like, 12th or 13th or something. But, like, it just... The deck always falls apart on itself, is what happens. And maybe it's more consistent now, like maybe Ancestral Rage and considering that there's a pump spell that draws you cards, maybe that has made the deck more consistent or something like that. But it just always felt like it buckled on itself. Like, I would be playing a winning end with top 8 for that deck, and then I would just, like, the deck would fall apart. Like, I wouldn't draw a creature, or I wouldn't draw, like, a land when I needed it, or I would draw, like, 12 creatures or something like that. So... Man, we're getting all kinds of grinders tonight. Claudio now. Good lord. I'm good, just hanging out. You're going to melt your next 2 opponents. I can see it. Well, I'm glad you can see it, man. I hope you're right. I like to flip this around for a 3-2. This guy that I don't even work with, like he's a distributor where I work, sent me 5 text messages at 7:30 at night. Like, what's wrong with people? Go home. Be with your families. Do something that's not annoying me. Like, good lord. Yeah, we're going to keep this. Alright, I think our opponent, like, 6'd on accident or something there. I'm not going to complain. We're going to run out Soul-Scar Mage and say go here. Okay. Okay, so they actually block here. All right, so pretty interesting. I even shocked into land like before I attacked on purpose to make them think about it. So, not saying the decision was wrong. I'm just surprised. What is our opponent up to? What are they playing? They're playing Giganta. All right. Drawing play with fire is awesome because, like, we're just going to go upstairs. We're just going to get in for a ton of damage here. All right. And then play with fire. Yeah, I think drawing a 4th land, even if it's a tapped land, is better than not here, so okay with that. So our opponent's playing, like, tap an uncapped creature you control at 1 mana of any color. Okay, so it's basically the, like, Jaspera Sentinel, but it's an 0/3. We saw Expressive Iteration and Springleaf Drum. If anybody in the chat knows what our opponent is playing, I'm all for it. I honestly don't know how to sideboard here, because I don't know what our opponent's up to. I don't know what they're doing. Like, do we want Searing Blood? Or, like, I mean, like, do we want Chain of the Rocks? Do we want Rest in Peace? Like, are they a graveyard-based deck? Like, do we want Scab-Clan Berserker? I mean, the fact that they're playing, like, these, like, they're playing Springleaf Drum tells me they're playing quite a few creatures. Like, so I'm wondering if maybe I just shouldn't cut, like, but they're also playing, like, Ramp, like that. Like, it's, like, some kind of bigger creature deck. Maybe I should just... Oh, Lord. Alright. What if I cut 2 Frenzies, 2 Gatekeepers, and brought in Chain of the Rocks? Let's try that. We're not, like, completely, like, diluting the deck if we do that. Like, we're just bringing out a little bit of help here. Now, knowing my luck, they're probably not playing creatures at all. Like, they're not playing enough creatures for it to matter anyway. Like, Chain of the Rocks is not going to be a good bring here. They're also playing Temur. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what my opponent's playing. Come on, phone. Not gonna lie, it kind of feels weird playing playing Burn and not playing like a not playing a companion. I mean, I like this hand. This hand seems good enough. Like, we need to draw into a mountain for Chain of the Rocks here. Battlefield Forge and then the Bugbear. Like, they don't do it, but they allow us to cast it. Alright. Alright, I think I'm going to play Kill the Mana Dork here because I don't feel like playing Swiftspear is really a productive turn. If I'm being honest, like, I'm just like playing a 1/2 into a 1/2, so it's like, woo. We're going to take advantage of getting Eidolon down here as early as we can and say go. Alright, well the fact that they cast Expressive Iteration on turn 3 instead of like, you know, playing Lovestruck Beast or something here feels pretty good. Temple Garden. I mean, I guess I could be playing like Ascendancy or something weird. I honestly, I don't know. Alright, we're going to play Swiftspear. We're going to attack for 3. We're going to cast Light at the stage after combat. Always yield. Let's hit a land here, please. And hitting a land's better than not. It still doesn't help us with our Chain of the Rocks debacle right now. Omnath would be pretty bad. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Artifacts you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast an instant sorcery spell. Okay. I don't really know a ton about what our opponent's up to right now, so we're just going to play mono red removal here. I guess Boros removal, nonetheless. And then we're going to put our opponent to 8 here and say go. I think letting go of the Eidolon there was better than... I don't know, playing the Eidolon there just didn't seem right. Like, if we had Mountain, like if we had a Mountain for Chain of the Rocks, I might have just cast Chain of the Rocks and then played other Eidolon. Alright, our opponent concedes. I played an entire match and I still do not know what our opponent was doing. So that was interesting to say the least. Alright, 2 and 2. Well, we're playing for the old 3-2 here, so. I was looking at Burn earlier today to see like what people have been playing recently, and people have cut Light at the stage from the deck, and they've just been playing for Skewer the Critics. Like that's like the most common, like that's the most recent Burn thing people have been doing, which I think is very interesting if I'm being honest. I don't really know how I feel about that. I also haven't tried it. I tried that Dress to Kill Red deck, and that deck was fun, but it felt like we played against like humans twice, and Dahlia both times just gave us the business. Like just, I mean, absolutely gave it to us. So I don't know. I've been playing I've been trying to so the Mana Trader Series tournament is coming up. It's not this weekend, but it's next weekend, and I'm gonna play in it. So I'll be playing that Swiss section on Saturday. But I'm trying to figure out what list I should play. Like, should I be on Burn? Should I be on Mono Red? Should I be on that Boros Red I've been playing? Should I just abandon it and get reps in with the Rakdos deck and try to just play that? Like, I like the Rakdos deck. The Rakdos deck is good. I don't know. Like, it's kind of tough. Gonna be honest, I really don't like Rolling Vortex right now in the metagame. Like everybody playing Burn is playing Rolling Vortex. Again, I understand why you're playing Lurrus. It's your best option for 2 mana, so I completely get it. But I'm not a big fan of Rolling Vortex right now. Like, and maybe somebody in the chat knows something that I don't, but it seems so lackluster. Like, I don't know. Like, it's good against blue-white control. It seems like it is not good enough against anything else. Like, you don't want that card. Like, you don't want Rolling Vortex against Ascendancy. It doesn't do enough. They spend mana for all their stuff. They I don't know, like 2 mana like for 1 damage like over the course of a couple turns just isn't good enough. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm having a hard time finding a red aggro deck that I really just enjoy playing in Pioneer right now. Which kind of saddens me because I love to play red aggro. Like, I love to play in standard. I love to play burn and modern. I mean, you guys know this. Anybody that watches me or knows me knows that. But Vortex just does not seem good enough in Pioneer right now, and I'm having a hard time figuring out what to play in place of it. If anybody's seen like any cool like really cracked like mono red decks or like like Boros decks or something, or like red X aggro decks, like please send them my way. They're playing Kahira, so Kahira means that they're playing blue-white control. I don't like not having a turn 1 threat here, but I do like having Play with Fire to scry into Gatekeeper to exile their instance and following up with Frenzy. So I think that's okay, especially when our opponent's on a mulligan. Alright, so our opponent's kept 6. Alright, so we're definitely still gonna run. We're gonna run out the Soul-Scar Mage here. I would rather have a creature in play against blue-white control than I would the 2 damage and scrying. Our opponent's main phase considering, so their hand must be like I feel like they're probably looking for a portable hole here. Alright, so now here's the real question. Is it better to play Gatekeeper on their Glacial Fortress or on their Consider? So that means every land deals them 2, and they more than like hit land, right? Okay. I mean, no, that's why I'm asking, because I'm not sure. Like if they play land, do nothing next turn, and then they play land Supreme Verdict, our Cemetery Gatekeeper does nothing if we hit Consider. If like they have to have Fateful Absence and then play a land to not take damage off of our Gatekeeper here if we hit the land, so I think the land's better. Hit the Glacial Fortress. You don't get to do that very often in Pioneer. That's pretty sweet. Like it's pretty rare that like on turn 2 you get to exile a land. At least I feel like it is. You get to do it against Lotus Field every now and again, but whew, that's right. Take 2, buddy boy. All right, Play with Fire is fine. Ah yes, how the turns have tabled. Now we're taking damage. They are 4 damage off of Verdict. Yeah, so them taking 4 off of Verdict feels pretty good. They didn't put in a Shark here, so I'm going to go ahead and cast Play with Fire. They're going to cast Consider. Interesting. They Consider to the top very quickly. We scry... Oh, no. Oh, Veto. Okay, so they take Veto. I mean, that's fine. We don't get to scry, but we're still getting in a ton of damage here. Our opponent's at 9, and if they tap out for a Verdict here... Oh, I thought they were going to shock in for Verdict. I was like, oh yeah, go to 5 to play that Supreme Verdict, big boy. Go to 5. Huh, that's not bad here either. I'm going to attack for 3. And then I'm just going to say go. I'm going to put my opponent to 4, play a tap land here, shock myself, and then I'm just going to say go. I'm not going to give them a chance to use their Absorb. I mean, I feel like if they had one, they would have played it last turn instead of considering in the Dovin's Veto. But maybe they cast Consider and did that because I have no idea why. That's a pretty good land. Maybe we get lucky and they cycle in a shark here? No? Okay. Alright, our opponent goes to 1. Like, this is cool with me because they can't play a land. Even if they had one, they can't play it. I'm going to go for it here. Maybe they have veto here. I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to go for it regardless. Okay, so we definitely want Scab-Clan Berserker. I think Play with Fire is our worst burn spell here by far. Frenzy has really good late game advantage. Lapis Stage is great. Gatekeeper, Eidolon, or Taxing. These are our best burn spells. Let's try it like this. One thing that I didn't really think about before playing this, before this league, is that I didn't know how taking out Wizard's Lightning and playing Experimental Frenzy is very good late game value, and in the right matchup has a lot of potential value. But I also don't think it's good because I have noticed Lavarunner has been turned off way more this league than it has any other league I think I've ever played, playing like Burn kind of thing. So I don't know. I like the idea of having Experimental Frenzy. Oh, now I'm throwing my cards. I also really want to play Abbot in this deck. Like, it is a sad day that Abbot of Carol Keep is just honestly just not good enough to be played in Pioneer. Abbot of Carol Keep is like one of my favorite Magic cards of all time. Like, which is kind of funny because it's just a 2/1 with prowess that like that draws you a card, quote unquote. But like you don't even really want to play it on turn 2 that often. But I like it's literally one of the cards I shuffle all the time. Like, it's one of my like little shuffling. It's in my stack of cards that I shuffle. But it just feels so underwhelming. And I mean, honestly, that makes me really sad. Like, I have been trying to, I've been trying out a list. It's like an Atarka red list that's playing Abbot and like, you know, like Soul-Scar Swiftspear and like some of the prowess creatures. So it's kind of ironic that the match before this I was just talking about how much I did not like Rolling Vortex except for against Blue-White Control, and now I'm playing against Blue-White Control. Yeah, I'm going to keep this hand. I mean, this hand's way too good to like throw away. Alright. Gonna lead on Soul-Scar Mage. Lavarunner always has potential of having haste here. One second here. All right. I mean, if we're gonna attack here. If they like Fateful Absence, my Soul-Scar Mage, I'm going to play Gatekeeper on their Fateful Absence. But if they just take one here, I'm going to play Soul-Scar Mage without... actually, I'm going to play Lavarunner here without playing a land. And see if they censor it. And then if they don't, I'm going to run out the Soul-Scar Mage. Or even if they do, I'm going to run out the Soul-Scar Mage regardless, but... Our opponent's really in the tank here. Or they're really lagging. I honestly imagine it's not that they're in the, like, that they're just, like, super in the tank here. Because going to 19 to see what I do for the blue-white control deck seems like a pretty easy decision. At least I would think. Sorry, client crashes a little bit. Oh, gotcha. That makes more sense. Alright, Lavarunner. The one thing that I can really take away from running out creatures here on turn 2 is that I know that blue-white doesn't play a turn 3 Wrath if they haven't foretold a card. Like, foretell is the only way that they're really able to play turn 3 sweepers. I honestly don't even know if I'll run out. I don't think I'll even run out Scab-Clan Berserker this turn. Having a second one. Of course I say that and then might have to immediately retract my statement here. I don't know. I think playing Lightning Strike and playing a tap land here into their more than likely Supreme Verdict turn feels pretty good. Like, his next turn is more than likely going to be a Supreme Verdict turn. Do it? Oh, well, sorry, man. I just saw that. I mean, drawing a second one does make me more likely to actually do it, though. Like, we put our opponent to 11 here, and if they have Verdict this turn, then we get to just run out Scab-Clan Berserker, put them to 9, and then it's any non-creature spell. That's insane. Oh yeah, Supreme Verdict. Alright, well. It feels like we're in a pretty good spot from here, but 9 is not 0, so... Yeah, play Teferi. That's right. Go to 7, big boy. Go to 7. You love to see it. They bounced that. I still think our play here is play Scab-Clan, get in at them. The fact that they tucked it instead of drawing a card tells me that their hand is, like, really not that great here. I can't 6 after that. I'm going to play my Inspiring Vantage. Alright. Our opponent cannot activate Hall of the Storm Giants to block here this turn. They don't have enough lands. I mean, like, anything they have as an answer here is just, like, shocking them to 3, and we have Lightning Strike in our hand. Oh my gosh, going to 3. Hall of Storm Giants is 6, right? Yeah, I always ask myself this question. I always second guess myself. Oh, whew, I'm not gonna lie. Well, I mean, I guess I could have veto here. Alright, so let's think about this. Let's think about this. Alright, so if we fire up Den of the Bugbear here and attack with everybody, they gain 3, go to 6, take 4, go to 2, and then they get to gain 5. Oh my gosh, is our opponent about to get out of this? All right. We're gonna play Gatekeeper. I think we still have the win here because we Gatekeeper hit Lightning Strike, and then we Lightning Strike them, and then if they have an instant, they take 4. Like, even if they have Veto here... Oh, I didn't even get to say good game. Nope, come back. I'm saying good game even if you ain't there. Alright, go away! Good God, let me say GG's. Jesus Christ. Sometimes I hate Moto. It annoys the piss out of me sometimes. Alright, well, we finished 3-2. I mean, that's not a bad finish. Like, playing Experimental Frenzy and Burn is a very, like, questionable thing to do. It honestly feels a little too slow for Pioneer. Maybe if you're going to play Experimental Frenzy, maybe you just need to be running Steamkin, like, on fire. Yeah, man. That last game went very well. Things lined up for us very well. I don't feel like I say that enough. I feel like I always talk about how my opponent drew pretty well, and I hate that I do that sometimes. Like, we drew very well that match. Like, that especially that last game. That last game was very good for us. Maybe you just need to, like, if you really want to play Experimental Frenzy, maybe you need to cut Cemetery Gatekeeper, and you need to be playing for, Runaway Steamkin. There we go. Lord, I just had a stroke trying to figure that out. Play for Runaway Steamkin and try it that way. Maybe that's like maybe that's the better option there. I'm trying to think if there's anything you could, like, really change here. Like, yeah, changing Steamkin is fine. Like, the last guy probably thought it was too fast. Lol. I don't know. So maybe you take this, you cut Frenzies. How crazy would it be to play main deck Scab-Clan Berserker and cut Frenzies and play main deck Scab-Clan? Is that too much? Let's go. If you're in the chat and you're watching, please jump in here, because this is one of the more spicy ideas I've had recently. Running 4 main deck Scab-Clan Berserker. And cutting Experimental Frenzy for it. All right, what's the downside if I do that? Like, there's no more late game grind. It's really bad against any kind of creature deck. Like, if we play against Spirits, blowout. Play against mono red aggro, probably not that good. I guess it can be. And then if we do that, what are we jamming in the sideboard? Yeah, I don't know. Scab-Clan feels... I mean, man, if you play against Phoenix, like, you're then playing 12, like life total taxing effects. What does Ash Zealot do? Ash Zealot says it's a red for a 2/2 first strike haste, and it says whenever a player would cast a spell in their graveyard, I believe is what it says, it bolts them. It bolts them or shocks them one. But I know that it's like one of those, like, interesting things where they have to cast a card from their graveyard or something like that, I think. Well, let's just look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Ash Zealot. First strike case, whenever a player casts a spell from a graveyard, it deals 3 damage to that player. So that is what Ash Zealot does. Oh no. Sorry, I minimized my stream on accident and it messed up my text boxes here that I have. It is only dead for aggro matchups. Even then, it hits Coco. And Denial Spirits and removal of dire tactics and Faceful Absence. And it becoming a 3/3 is relevant. I just remembered the last time I had Scab-Clan in my Pioneer deck and I had Ash Zealot. No, I mean, that's fair. Like, Ash Zealot was a very popular card for a long time in Mono Red Aggro, so that's very fair. And you are correct there, their Noob on Road. Interesting name, by the way. Like, it becoming a 3/3 is very relevant. I wonder how many times you'll have chances to punch in with the card. If you played Scab-Clan Berserker in the main, you would really have to make an effort to make that choice there. Like, that would have to be a pretty. You have to play pretty strategically using that. All right, so the next deck I had queued up for tonight was